Imagine this. You're standing on your own porch, the kind of place that's supposed to be your sanctuary after life's thrown everything at you. And suddenly there's this woman, bold as brass, pounding on your door, demanding you fork over $3,500 in fees for an association you never signed up for, her voice dripping with that fake politeness that hides a storm of entitlement. And when you push back, she doesn't just walk away. No, she sends these phony deputies to scare you straight. But here's the twist that turned my world upside down. The very headquarters of her little empire, that shiny office where she ruled like a queen, it was all squatting on land that belonged to me, my family's legacy, and oh, the sweet irony of it all nearly made me laugh through the rage. My name is Ethan Harlow, and just 8 months ago, I was trying to piece my life back together after losing my wife Elena to that cruel thief called cancer, her absence still echoing in every quiet moment, every empty room. So when I inherited my grandma Evelyn's old ranch house in Oak Ridge County, it felt like a lifeline. 3.5 acres of rolling fields, a sturdy 1950s cabin with its creaking floors and memories baked into the walls, a faded red barn where I could lose myself in fixing old engines, the scent of fresh hay and engine grease mingling with the whisper of wind through those towering maple trees. It was my chance to heal, to breathe again in a world that had gone too silent. Grandma Evelyn had called this place home for over 70 years, tending to her garden, raising livestock, living off the land her grandfather had claimed back when this was all open countryside, self-reliant and fierce in her independence. But then the builders came, about 6 years back, transforming the surrounding fields into Silverwood Heights, a sea of uniform houses with manicured yards and identical fences, complete with their own homeowners association to oversee the clubhouses, the parks, the illusion of perfection, and sure, that was their business, but dragging my ancestral plot into their web, assuming they could claim what wasn't theirs, that was where the line crossed into outright theft. That's when Victoria Langford entered the picture, 48 years old, president of the Silverwood Heights HOA, the epitome of suburban superiority wrapped in designer athleisure and a perpetual smirk, driving her sleek black SUV like a chariot of judgment, a former urbanite who wielded her position to compensate for whatever voids life had left her. Her arrival always preceded by the cloying wave of her overpriced cologne, and on that fateful Wednesday, she stormed up my steps, armed with a binder of citations that could choke a horse. "Mr. Harlow," she declared, her tone laced with that condescending sweetness. "We're here to address your property's noncompliance with community guidelines." I stood there, wiping oil from my calloused hands on a shop rag, the sun beating down on us both, and tried to keep it civil. "Ma'am, you've got it wrong. I'm not part of your group. Never have been." But her eyes gleamed with that predatory certainty. "Actually, the county's rezoning incorporated all adjacent lands into our jurisdiction. You owe us back dues totaling $3,500, plus ongoing assessments." And as she jabbed her finger at my pickup truck, my weathered barn, my supposedly unkempt grass, I felt that slow burn of injustice rising, the kind that reminds you of every time life's kicked you when you're down. So I fetched my deed, the one I'd pored over since Grandma Evelyn's passing. This ground's been ours since 1952. No signatures on any covenant. But she just waved it off. "Rezoning overrides personal claims. Mr. Harlow, comply or face liens. I have friends in high places. This can be smooth or rocky." That evening, alone in the dim light of my kitchen, papers scattered like fallen leaves across the scarred oak table, I delved deeper. Old maps, tax stubs, boundary lines, and buried in the stack, a revelation that made my pulse quicken. The HOA's filings were riddled with errors, and my land extended farther east than I'd ever known, a sliver that just might overlap their precious domain, because property surveys, those unyielding truths etched in measurements and stakes, they don't lie, they cut through the noise. And as I traced the lines with my finger, a quiet resolve built inside me. The grief for Elena still raw, but mixed now with a fire to protect what family had left me. Little did I know this was the spark to a blaze that would consume their whole corrupt setup. Barely 48 hours after telling Victoria where she could stick her demands, things escalated in a way that twisted my gut. I was knee-deep under a neighbor's hood, tools clinking, sweat beading, when two strangers approached, their voices booming with false authority. broad-shouldered in crisp khaki shirts, badges dangling like cheap jewelry. Ethan Harlow, the burly one, barked, "Municipal compliance officers here regarding code infractions on this site." And as I straightened up, eyeing their flimsy IDs that screamed counterfeit. Elena had clerked at the assessor's office, teaching me the real deal. Their demands poured out. Fines for commercial ops in a residential zone, unapproved buildings, after-hours disturbances, paperwork crisp, but procedures all wrong. No appointments, no protocols. I noted their van's plates, the way they fidgeted under scrutiny, and after they sped off, I dialed the county office. "Hello, just got served by your inspectors. Can you clarify the process?" And the clerk's pause spoke volumes. "Sir, we have no such division. Who exactly visited you?" And there it was. Victoria had vaulted from annoyance to felony territory, impersonating officials, a crime that could land her years behind bars. My heart racing with a mix of fear and vindication, because this wasn't just about fees anymore. It was war on my doorstep, threatening the peace I'd sought after losing Elena, the woman who'd been my anchor. And as I filed the report with Deputy Ramirez at the station, photos and plates in hand, he nodded gravely. "This ties back to Silverwood Heights Management Incorporated, same address as their hub. Install cameras. Mr. Harlow, desperate folks don't stop easy." The next day, wiring up surveillance around the cabin, the barn, the drive, cloud backups humming. I thought of Elena's teasing about my caution, but solitude had sharpened my instincts, and meanwhile, Victoria unleashed her digital venom, alerts pinging about urgent gatherings to combat rogue elements dragging down values. And Mrs. Whitaker, my kindly neighbor with her tray of oatmeal cookies wafting warmth, whispered warnings. "Dear, she's painting you as some junkyard threat, stirring the pot with lies." But I decided if she wanted spectacle, I'd deliver, gathering deeds, vintage photos of Grandma Evelyn's sprawling farm, and crashing their assembly like a storm cloud. The hall buzzed with tension, 40-plus residents turning as I strode in, folder in grip. "Excuse me, I'd like to share some history on my land." Victoria's glare could melt steel. "This is members only. You're intruding." But actually, this venue's open to all. And as I displayed images of fields long before their cookie-cutter invasion, murmurs grew, curiosity blooming. "My family's steward this earth for generations. No intent to join your rules." And doubt flickered in eyes. Perhaps this outsider wasn't the villain after all. But Victoria rallied. "Security, remove this harasser." And as awkward escorts guided me out, I distributed copies. Anyone seeking neighborly chat knows my door. That night, she slapped me with a real police complaint for disruption. But Officer Hayes at my threshold sighed knowingly. "We've fielded plenty on HOA bullying here. Document it all, steer clear of clashes." And as he departed, a parting shot. "That management firm's locale. Double-check your borders, it hugs close." And back at the table, surveys unfurled under lamplight, I scrutinized anew, the office perilously near my line, suspicion coiling like smoke. If true, her frenzy made chilling sense. A criminal fortress on pilfered ground. 3 days on, a glossy envelope arrived from a high-end firm. "Cease and desist. Halt meddling in operations. Cease tree-related damages." My ancient maples daring to shed foliage on their paths. And I chuckled darkly at the absurdity, consulting my insurer first, hypothetical boundary beefs. But Alexander Thorne, my new counsel versed in land wars, grinned over the line. Desperation sent. "Marcus." "Wait, Ethan." Fake enforcers scream cover up, and the survey team I hired, their lasers and levels, beeping across the dawn mist, coffee in hand as I watched. And by midday, the lead beckoned. "Sir, your edge pushes 35 feet farther. Tech's advanced since those old charts." And my breath caught. "So their headquarters encroaches, precisely, half the structure on your turf per grants and grids." That revelation ignited everything. Evenings poring over records, taxes, filings, confirming Victoria's trespass, her panic not about my yard but her fraud's foundation. And as tensions mounted, she parked brazenly in my drive, claiming easement rights, snapping pics, then summoning crew to yank my mailbox for style violations. But postal regs backed me. Federal crime to tamper, and I installed a beast of a box, ironclad with Harlow 1952 etched proud. If war she wanted, mechanics precision, I'd bring. Alexander called with heft. "Can't bind non-members. And if on your soil, years of intrusion, damages could hit $60,000 plus commercial rates. And when she alleged threats over the box, Deputy Ramirez rolled eyes. We've tallied 8 gripes on this crew lately. Stay vigilant. Counties probing their permits. And under workshop fluorescence, survey in hand, oil and wood shavings scenting the air. I grasped the weapon's weight. But deeper fraud lurked. Insurance scams, padded deals, shells, her desperation's root, ready to unearth. The slashing came a week post-box, my truck's tires gutted in the night. Deliberate vengeance, but hidden cams, beyond the obvious ones she'd defaced. Captured Victoria directing hooded thugs, footage gold, and my adjuster noted patterns. 8 claims linked to HOA feuds, fraud probes brewing. While she rallied safety summits, smears of my supposed industrial plot. Mrs. Whitaker relaying the hysteria, no proof, just charts and fear-mongering. Sneaking to their office after dusk, tape and light in tow, confirming overlap, permit voids, tax dodges. Then Detective Harlan rang, fraud squad. Your badge bluff opened floodgates, patterns of harassment to oust holdouts, claimed damages self-inflicted, photos from other sites mirroring mine, organized racket under governance guise, and Nathan Brooks, the treasurer, called shaky, need neutral ground, finances off. At the roadside cafe, he slid envelopes, $60,000 landscaping ghosts, $40,000 phantom legals, copies before she shreds. She's siphoning from us all. And the kicker, that office isn't theirs. Records show your claim. Every pact signed they're tainted, driving back, gravel crunching. This transcended my fight. A syndicate preying on families, my land the linchpin to dismantle it all. The evidence trove from Nathan blanketed my table like a map of deceit, Alexander poring over it with me, his glasses catching the light on ledgers of lies. Ethan, this eclipses expectations. Close to $190,000 siphoned through shells, padded kin contracts, vanishing cash, and tracing the office. Victoria's LLC neighborhood oversight partners owned it outright, renting back to the HOA at $4,500 monthly from pilfered dues, all while dodging taxes on my dime for the full acreage. Papers rustled as fury built, her scam a pyramid on my stolen soil. Every brick mocking the sweat Grandma Evelyn poured into this earth. And Detective Harlan's text summoned a meet with Auditor Lydia Grant. Her conference room a battlefield of charts and deeds. Mr. Harlow, discrepancies abound. You're taxed on all 3.5 acres, no split for their parcel. So yes, you hold title. She's evaded $9,000 yearly for schools, infrastructure, and patterns echo in 4 other spots tied to her firm. Driving home, the choice crystallized, settle silent or expose for all families' sake. Grandma Evelyn's wisdom ringing. Right actions price buys peace of mind. So I told Alexander, full disclosure, the theft, the lot. Let's free them, aware of risks, costs, battles ahead, but gazing at twinkling homes through my maples. Families bled dry for one woman's avarice, certainty solidified. My workshop morphed into command central over days. Allies assembling amid tools and blueprints. Mrs. Whitaker first with coffee and archives. Dear, your grandma's deed grants creek access to. Nathan laying statements on benches, master accounts hidden, claimed too complex. Olivia Reed, the reporter with fire in her eyes. This mirrors statewide HOA rot, developers rig, loot, front page potential. Alexander strategized like a maestro. File quiet title to lock your claim. 30-day proof or forfeit. Traps her in fraud admission or void docs. Meanwhile, catalog embezzlements for refunds. Olivia uncovering shells under aliases, family ties, money laundering loops. Printer humming fresh packets. Every bogus payout documented. Mrs. Whitaker adding lore that cites her old berry patch. I'll swear it in court. Insurance angle surfaced. Victoria claiming self-caused damages. Pocketing $50,000 sans fixes, federal territory, and Olivia timed her peace post-clash. Social amplification pressuring officials. Showdown at their bi-weekly meet. Olivia covering, Detective Harlan observing. Backups galore, asset freezes, attorney safes, and for her ploys, sheriff alerts on intimidation. Rebecca Vance, forensic whiz, tallied $220,000 damages including leases, class suit viable, Nathan's resolve shining. For my kids, corruption can't normalize, psych prep key, she'll victimize, defame, facts over fury, Mrs. Whitaker echoing, bullies thrive on silence, good folk must act. Final huddle over pizza and plans, timeline locked, filings ignite countdown, meet as reveal stage, arrests follow, justice cascades, and if derailed, truth's out, unstoppable. As they left, solitude wrapped me, oil-scented air thick with purpose, her next strikes looming, but armored we stood. Dawn post-planning, a bogus letter from phantom firm Crawford Legal Group, a P.O. box facade, demanded halt to smears or $600,000 suit. Alexander scoffing, template trash, legal nonsense, floundering, but 3 a.m. cams nabbed her mast with goons planting chem bags near my barn, frame for eco-crimes, seizure bait, Dawn dig unearthed, Detective Harlan noting pro setup, but footage nails it. Her door knock yielding shouts, slams. She lawyer-hunted futilely, circles buzzing with her toxicity. Nathan endured threats on his deck, blackmail bids, but we pledged aid. Then Thursday, I found her in my den, window jimmied, check for $60,000 proffered, cover surveys, troubles, sign NDA, drop it. Her tremor betraying fear, sweat, and scent cloying, bribe to bury. I recorded sly, so boundary admitted, office movable. What of $220,000 theft, legitimate costs, shells exposed? She retreated cracking, offer fleeting. Taped to Detective Harlan and Alexander, bribery felony gold, prosecutor's boon. But she emergency boarded to dissolve. Obstruction play, yet Nathan preempted to DA and unearthed regional emails. Her scam scaling counties, my drive now epicenter. Weekend scorched, deputy with TRO on threats, stalking lies, but Deputy Ramirez dubious. Footage flipped it, judge sanctioning her abuse. Fees mine, then real inspector on zoning gripes. But my setup casual, complaint overblown, dismissed, Detective Harlan adding harassment counts. Flyers smeared me as unhinged menace, grainy pics, fabricated fears, but backlash brewed sympathy, questions on her motives. Then Molotov's shattered workshop glass, flames licking evidence zone, firefighters doused, safe endured, arson obstruction, footage showing limp thug from prior, arrests imminent, threats voicemail invoking Elena's death, boiling blood but evidentiary gift, voice match hers. By noon, Olivia's teaser viral, thousands engaged, TV crews rolling, scope national, her last-ditch offer via counsel, building deed, $120,000, apology, exile, partial fund. But no, justice full or not. Her escalations fortifying our arsenal, every misstep a nail in her coffin, determination swelling as showdown neared, 2 hours to face her amid lights, truth's blade sharp. The center thrummed like a powder keg, over 350 crammed in, chairs scraping, whispers swelling, overflow tuned via speakers, Olivia front row streaming, views surging past 4,000, Commissioner Ellis noting midway, Detective Ramirez, wait, Harlan, shadowing rear, Alexander stacking proofs, Mrs. Whitaker prim in florals, historicals clutched, we're making history, dear. Victoria swept in at 7 sharp, trio of holdouts trailing, suit armor cracking to unease, routine agenda only, no outsiders. But Nathan rose, law mandates open floor, commissioner backing, fine, brief comments, reserve control, and I advanced, weight of stairs heavy, coffee and anxiety thick. Neighbors, I'm Ethan Harlow, the supposed troublemaker, but let's unveil the real storm. Survey aloft, certified, GPS true, office on my 1952 soil, gasps erupting. Victoria bolting up, forgery for chaos. No, auditor stamped, but deeper, $190,000 dues diverted to her kin's phantoms. Nathan handing ledgers, rustles and outrage building. Slander, she shrieked. Devoted servant besmirched by vengeful loner. Widow jab igniting Mrs. Whitaker's ire. Shame on you. He sought solace post-loss. You've plundered, terrorized, applause roaring. 78 years witness. Your sight's her buried bed. Trespass pure. Phone speaker blared Thursday tape. $60,000 hush. Boundary nod. Relocation hint. Silence profound. Bribery confessed. Detective Harlan advancing. Arrest for fraud. Theft. Obstruction. Cuffs snapping echo. Miranda droned as she unraveled. You misunderstand. Deserved pay. Unappreciative masses. Commissioner vowing probes. Reforms. Cheers thundered. Olivia's feed at 18,000. National echoes. Nathan motioning dissolve for transparent rebirth. Eyes overwhelming. Handshakes. Apologies flowing out. Mrs. Whitaker beaming. Grandma proud. You saved us all. And gazing at the office. Victory transcended land. Community reborn from ashes of greed. 8 months on. Dawn brings kids' giggles across former pristine greens. My barn now mentorship hub. Engines teaching life. Victoria jailed 20 months. $260,000 repaid. Banned eternally. Kin scattered. Office donated. Clinics. Classes. Exhibits thriving. Mrs. Whitaker's mugshot display quoting Good's triumph over silence. Savings soared 45%. Transparent bids healing wallets. Olivia and I engaged. Her spark from Justice's Forge. Scholarship honoring Grandma Evelyn aiding dreams. National ripples. Testimonies. Probes. Harlow Act shielding holdouts. Consultations flowing. Values up 20%. Gardens blooming on her old spot. Barbecues bridging divides. Detective Harlan updating spin-off cases. You ignited change. Physical shifts mirrored hearts. Annual rites fest educating generations. My barn wedding venue soon. Olivia's hand in mine. Closure in community. From grief's shadow to light's embrace. Proving documentation. Unity. Persistence mend the broken. Justice not just won, but rooted deep. But tell me, in the face of such systemic injustice, where do you draw the line between fighting back and letting go? Is revenge ever truly justified when it uncovers greater wrongs, or does turning the other cheek invite more abuse? What would you do if your family's legacy was threatened by unchecked power? Share your thoughts below, because these stories remind us that morality isn't black and white, but the pursuit of fairness can redefine everything.